Hello everyone, welcome back. Good evening. It is Saturday, zero volatility as we just saw, but this is good. This is what we were expecting. We have a huge change on the super trend, which is following the downtrend that we have at least here on Bitcoin. Tonight we're going to be discussing a trade deal that was finally announced between China and the United States. It's successfully passed. It seems okay from the little bit that I saw, but we'll be going into it in more detail together, and I'll be giving my thoughts on that, so stay tuned. Also, budget announcements for Canada and potential elections if a bill doesn't pass to get the funding for it. It seems like it's very unlikely to pass, so that could mean we will be getting elections in December. We'll see how it plays out. We'll also be analyzing a bit of that, and some drama going on with MEXC. Uh-oh, are they becoming insolvent? We'll be discussing that as well in tonight's stream, so should be pretty good. Yeah, let's analyze Bitcoin's price action. Currently, it's at 109,966, basically right at my entry price. I was, you know what? Before we pump, I'm going to buy on the spot market on my phone right now on crypto.com. And this is all in Canadian dollars. If you care about what the price is in Canadian, 157,471. And can I buy? I think I transferred money here already, if I'm not mistaken. Or unless I already bought, buy with Canadian account. Oh, I guess I... When did I buy already? Did I buy yesterday? I actually don't even remember when I bought. I'm pretty sure I did. Pretty sure I bought yesterday. Yeah, it would have been. I'm down like $100, but I bet that's just from fees. That's fine. It's not a lot anyway. It's not a big deal, but yeah. Alright, I'll focus on my spot purchases later on, because yeah, I am starting to accumulate more Bitcoin on spot. Because, you know, if it is on the spot market and we are at the end of the cycle and market prices go down, I'll have Bitcoin on spot and I'll just continue to DCA. I do have income now, so I'll be able to survive. It's not a big deal. Any amount of interest is incomparable to the amount of a return that Bitcoin will eventually rise, whether that takes another 4 years or whether that's in this upcoming month, this current month, right? So I'm not too concerned with it, and I mean, people get out of debt pretty easily, I think. I don't know. I haven't really put myself in this much debt, but not financial advice. You guys should not do this. I don't know what I'm doing, so don't follow what I do. All right, great. So Bitcoin's price is still in a downtrend overall. We are still waiting for new pivot levels to be generated, which should be done by tomorrow. So tomorrow's stream, I'll be providing any updates over here. Super trend, like I said, is still on its way down. It's currently at 113,626, but it's still dropping. When it stabilizes, which I would assume it would be soon, because by Sunday, it's usually a bit more volatile, although not as much as a Saturday. So, you know, if prices kind of stabilize or start rising a little bit around here, we could see the super trend kind of slow down, maybe around 113,000, but we'll see. It'll take some time. On the way down, I mean, the current immediate support that we have is at 109,000 really, and then our local bottom at 106,000. I have this trigger order at 104,000, which it was there for a while. I don't plan on changing it. If we do continue dropping and hit that level, so be it. I'll gladly buy there on the futures market. On futures, I'm more risky when it comes to Bitcoin. I'm able to take more of a risk because I just know eventually Bitcoin will lead the way upwards. It's the first asset that is going to rise compared to any altcoins. You could argue, sure, that some altcoins will rise higher than Bitcoin, and that's totally true and correct. But the big question is which one. You could look at the more volatile ones. I'm seeing good volatility from Solana, BitTensor, Sui, things like that, right? But it's ultimately a gamble as to which one's going to be the biggest, the fastest riser, or the first one to rise amongst them all. So to be safe with it, it's better to do Bitcoin. Bitcoin's never going to zero. An altcoin can absolutely go to zero. We're seeing, Cadena seemed like a good project a couple of years ago. They had their good rise. They were outperforming Bitcoin at one point, not in terms of market cap, but in terms of like popularity and its growth, that it was increasing like almost every day, until one day it didn't. The project kind of died down a little bit, and ultimately just this past week they've announced that they will be shutting down, so there will be no more Cadena. Things like that, right? Altcoins can fail. They have failed. Terra Luna was number 4 on the charts. It failed. Things like that. So you shouldn't really put a lot of your trust into altcoins. The main trust that you can put your okay, I shouldn't say you should put your life savings into, but yeah, you could put your life savings into, or your net worth, be like RFK Jr., would just be into Bitcoin, right? It's probably the more safest one of them all. So yeah, that's my little not financial advice portion of the day. Anyways, not much has really changed for Bitcoin's price. You really see how flat it's been throughout the day. Today, we reached a high of 110,472 and a low of 109,631. Literally a difference of $800. So it's not a lot of movement. Bitcoin moving $800 throughout the whole day. Like it basically feels like this day has been dead. So yeah, that's fine though. Let's have a look at the other assets over here. Ethereum, same deal, kind of flat. I did get a good buy on Ethereum, so we're still in the green up here. Ethereum's current price is 3,876. Levels kind of remain the same, and Supertrend is same deal, also on its way down, attached to the downtrend line that I have drawn over here. It's showing it invalidates at 4,075, but it's still on its way down. Like I said, I would expect a true resistance at around 4,000. It's the easiest level, the psychological level. So resistance at 4,000 for Ethereum. On its way down, I wouldn't expect us dropping lower than the 3,600 range. We've bounced on this level a couple times. I almost said a couple thousand times. No, that's not true. We've bounced off of it a couple times, so yeah. I want to, let me see here. This is like the lowest point versus the, which one's higher? They're all about the same, right? This kind of zone is where it would be a good entry on Ethereum. Rafa Rojo, welcome. Hey, Mano de Boa. I don't understand much Portuguese. I can try to because I'm Spanish, but I don't know. I'm not fully understanding what you're saying there, but hey, anyway, welcome. All right, moving on to, why is BitTensor over here? Anyway, 3% down today, but that's because we had a really good rally yesterday. We ended up reaching a high of 539. Where were we yesterday? Would have been October 31st. Right over here. We were on the rise, and I think I was expecting this to 540, 550. I would have given you that level. We didn't really hit that. We hit 539, so almost 540. And we have since come down from there to 494 currently. We already reviewed why it was rising. I think it was, I actually forgot the reason. Institutional adoption, right? It was ETP, which is a European ETF. So that's what BitTensor got. The super trend is still green. It always has been ever since the flash crash that we experienced, which was a very temporary negative super trend, but we quickly recovered from that. I didn't get the chance to get in over here on time, so I kind of missed the train. Would have been a decent profit by now, but whatever. Still waiting for it to kind of come back down for me to be re-entering. BitTensor is also having a halving event coming soon, well, in December, really. Yeah, so it's got a lot of good stuff going on for it. Grayscale has bought a lot of BitTensor tokens as well. So yeah. 400 is where the super trend is flatlined at currently, meaning that, I don't know, might have to enter at 400 now, and I really don't want to do that, but we'll see. For now, my limit order is still down there at 300. Yeah, we'll see. If it does come down and if it is oversold, I follow my strategy and I'll be entering into BitTensor. So if that is the case, I'll be buying. Solana still on its way down over here. Super trend on the way down as well. 197 is where it's at, but it's still peaking lower. Also kind of flatlined, but using 185 as a good support. Although it seems really weak. A drop could basically lead us to one of these levels that I have marked down over here, which would be about sub 175. I have my limit order at 172 just in case. We did blip a little below over here. I did buy twice over here. I doubled down on my 191 position, and then I purchased another entry at 186. We're at 185 right now, but my average price, since it was a little higher at 191, it's dropped it to 188. So I'm still in the negative here. That's not a big deal though. I still think Solana really good project, by the way, of course, and Western Union partnership, that was awesome. Meme coins are probably coming back. I was going to talk about meme coins in a post for tonight, but I decided against it. There was just too much degeneracy on it, and I couldn't understand a lot of the meme coins that were really getting popular. I know Trump meme coin did get popular. Like, for whatever reason, it started pumping. And do not forget that Trump meme coin is on Solana blockchain. So, you know, a lot of popular meme coins are, and it's easy to release a meme coin on Solana's blockchain with pump fun. So that's why it's got its good popularity on Solana. Although, I don't know if we could really, now that we have the pump fun token, anything meme coin related will be affecting pump.fund's price more than what it would affect Solana's price, in my opinion. Solana will now be moving on to bigger things, is what it seems like, in terms of, you know, we're seeing the institutional adoption, as I said, the partnership with Western Union, the ETFs that have now come out for it with staking. So that kind of stuff, I think, will be more impactful on Solana's price rather than, you know, meme coin activity. Because, like I said, we just saw Trump meme coin rise pretty decent amount. One of the bigger meme coin returns, I think. Let me just have a look at it real quick. And, well, we're down 8% as we speak, but this is what I'm talking about. This huge surge over here. It plunges 15% amid heavy trading volume. Sure, it's just people taking profits on it, being lucky on the meme coin over here. But, yeah, this really didn't impact Solana's price too much, right? Last time, when Pump Fund token did not exist, when Trump meme coin was released and announced by Trump on his Truth Social, this happened in January of this year, right? He said, I'm releasing my meme coin, and it is on Solana's blockchain. Solana was hitting all-time highs, and it neared $300 per token. And like I said, that's because Pump Fund was not in the way. Pump Fund later on released afterwards in the year, I think. When did... I could check the ICO of Pump Fund. We might as well look at the chart. Yeah, see, like, this chart pattern is more closely related to what I just showed you with Trump meme coin. And its ICO, it debuted on July, right? So that explains why Solana didn't really get some of that exposition into the meme coin surge, right? It's kind of there, but it's nothing too much, right? Solana is now focused on more institutional stuff, like I said, so not too much on meme coins, although it is still there, don't get me wrong. So yeah, that's what I think about it. Hyperliquid, we're kind of breaking downwards on it, so yeah. It lasted appropriately throughout the week as expected, and now that the week is coming to a close, well, by tomorrow I would expect new pivot levels, right? So I think we could really get rid of this unless we just start rising over here again. It'll look foolish. I don't know. Maybe I'll just keep it drawn here for now. But it seems like we are trying to slip down below this a little. It wouldn't surprise me. So if we do, I'm looking at 40 on Hyperliquid for a potential entry. If we are oversold by then, right? I would need something like, I don't know, maybe MEXC crashing to have that kind of same sentiment on Hyperliquid. Although Hyperliquid is a decentralized exchange, MEXC is more centralized. I'm mentioning MEXC because I have a topic about it that we'll be going over in the news section. So I don't know. I don't think it will really affect it. But yeah, and MEXC is much smaller than Hyperliquid. So okay, that's what we see for now for Hyperliquid. Strong at 42.81 right now. Resistance, of course, at 50 and support at 40. Psychologically. Easy. Plasma, it's barely up at all. We're barely at 30 cents. My entry's at 30.42. So, yeah, we're just, you know, barely making anything. But I feel like this, hopefully this is indeed the bottom. And we could start rising from here again. That's my expectation. I think I have like, well, it's not what I wanted. I want this. No. Okay, how do I do this? I want to get rid of this extra line that I have here. Yeah. And then hopefully drag this back exactly to where it was, I think there. Whatever, even if it's not perfect. Yeah, it's fine. Alright, cool. Doesn't have to be exact, honestly. I've seen people drawn worse Fibonacci's. But yeah. I'm going to get rid of these local supports as well. Don't think we'll need them. We're now looking for resistances, and to kind of verify where those resistances will be, you should be looking at Fibonacci levels. We will also be getting new pivot levels. I know these current pivot levels for this week look excellent on Plasma. We have a flat level over here at 34 from the super trend, meaning that at 34 is where I could expect some heavy resistance on Plasma. After that, 39 is what's likely. But these levels could change by tomorrow, although I would still stick with Fibonacci. But we'll see what it says for tomorrow. It's likely that they will stay the same because we did have a bounce over here from support, right? So that was good. And then we have this new bottom. We'll see. All right. What else do I got? Sui at 235 right now. Yeah, not much has really changed. Super trend is also on its way down still. 257 is where it's at, but it can still continue dropping. And, I mean, even if we do rise, we hit the 255 is maybe where I'm looking at a resistance. And we bounce back down below. That's what's likely, in my opinion, if we do rise. We would just have to readjust the downtrend to something like that, right? Because we'd still be in it. But for now, for the time being, we have to wait and see. That support at 220 is looking real good for a potential entry, which I obviously missed. I don't know. I bought at 229, which is like over here. It was close enough. I bought at this white line. And it's dropped my average price to 237, so I don't mind it too much. I'm at a good entry. For a lot of altcoins right now, I'm at a really good entry. Couldn't ask for anything better. Chainlink at 1712 right now. Also slightly in the green for me. 1701 is where my entry is. What did that say? Who cares? Super trend is negative, meaning that we will have to delete this uptrend and draw a downtrend on Chainlink. And we have a lot of historical data here from how long we've been in a downtrend, meaning that this one's going to be a really long one. From here, though, I would... Let me have a look. Maybe we can draw a smaller downtrend, either from this line, and it's probably going to look like that. Yeah, that looks good. Because super trend is approaching it, right? Meaning that we can just slightly readjust it. We have two downtrends basically to break out of for Chainlink. It's going to take some fundamentals, of course. Something to push it, to catalyze it forward. And my expectation for that would be the end of the government shutdown, which last time we checked, it was projected to last 44 days. We are projected also to be the #1 longest time that we have had a government shutdown for, compared to last presidential term of Donald Trump in 2018, where we had a government shutdown. It lasted, I think it was 35 days. This one's going to be a lot longer. Meaning that we will not get economic data, and there's no point in using Chainlink. I mean, there's a point of using Chainlink, but one of the big reasons why it rose all the way up here was that the adoption from the government on Chainlink, using Chainlink to export its economic data onto blockchain services, so that everybody that uses Chainlink, which is practically every blockchain, can have access to that economic data in real time, fast, right? And it's not like that's not what Chainlink's purpose is only built for, but it's a good addition to it. And like I said, Chainlink is a very important project between, it's like a layer 0 for all these other blockchains. So it's very important. And my opinion, it's pretty underpriced. It can continue rising higher, so that's why I'm loading up on it still. Awesome. Aptos, $3.30. It's actually on a good rise today. I'm at 100. Should I take profit? The answer is no, because we're still neutral on the RSI, really. But that means I really got a good entry price on it, which I'm proud of. I could have gotten a better one by, putting in another order at 306, which it was a level I had marked from a historical low. I think this was like the all-time low that I could find on this chart. And I just didn't really buy. So, actually it would not have been an all-time low. Why is the 279 here? I don't know what I was doing. I might have to reconsider the entries on this. I don't know. If we do continue dropping though, like this will probably not even be oversold. It'll be, I was going to say 291, but like we're going to have to really wait until the new pivot levels are generated for tomorrow, so that it could help me determine where the next support will be. If it coincides with 306 exactly, I'll go ahead and put a trigger order there. We are still technically in a downtrend on Aptos, which like it's still peaking downward on the super trend. It's at 359 and dropping, so we got to wait for that to stabilize as well. It's going to take some time, so we got to wait and see. All right, what else do I have that is of relevance? Really nothing. I still also have World Liberty Finance in there. Compound, a quick trade I entered. Not much going on with it. Cardano, same deal, not much going on, so I'm not even going to look at them. Sonic is, I'm assuming, still dropping. I don't even know what to think of Sonic anymore. Seems like genuinely great project. It had that good governance vote that was passed that was covering it a lot, but it's stuck at the bottom, really. We do need that alt season to come back. But I've got a really good entry on it. Probably the best entry I've ever had on Sonic. This is like buying Phantom at 14 cents. And we've seen Phantom hit $3. We've seen Sonic hit $1. No, wait. No, it was Phantom that hit $1 in this 2024 cycle. I was talking about like the $3 from 2021. That's when it hit that. They had the rebrand to Sonic, and then, I don't know, things just went downhill from there. It hasn't really been able to break past 40 or 50 cents. That's where projections are at as well, but really struggling to rise from what I see. I'll give it a bit of my own support here, even though it did the big old liquidation on me. I was very heavily loaded up over here. Could have taken profits, didn't, and I ended up paying the heavy price for not taking profits. So that's why you never marry your bags, especially in the futures market with leverage. Cryptocurrency is already volatile. You don't really need to extend your volatility with leverage. I just do because it's I got to recover a lot fast. So that's my way to do it. It is riskier, I understand, but that's why we do what we do. We analyze, and we're always looking at why things could go up, why things could go down. So let's go ahead and do that, right? That's all the analysis I have for technical analysis. Wow, great. And we'll be talking about our news section right over here. So this is the big news in recent hours. This is practically breaking news. I'm giving you tomorrow's news today. White House confirms that Trump struck a deal with China. What China will do is that they will end... Oh, my OBS is disconnected. Am I back? My OBS said it disconnected. Oh, Wi-Fi. Why do I pay for Wi-Fi? That's good. I think we're back. I don't know if you guys heard what I was saying, but yeah, China will end all of the retaliation tariffs on U.S. goods. They will lift the rare earth mineral bans. They will stop fentanyl exports, which I'm like, shouldn't they have already stopped it? And they will resume massive U.S. farm. OBS is gone again. Why is my OBS bad? Okay. U.S. will cut tariffs by 10% starting November 10. They will extend 301 exclusions through year 26. They will pause new export control rules for a year. It's a massive truce and the clearest risk-on signal we've seen all year. Markets, commodities, Bitcoin are all watching closely. Why shouldn't we... Why aren't we rising, is my question. Like, Bitcoin is clearly not pumping on the news. You could say because tariffs have literally nothing to do with crypto. And to that, I would say, well, October 10 disagrees, because when we were putting 100%, or threatening to put 100% tariffs on China, we all crashed 80% in 20 seconds. So it's like, what's really going on here? Anyways, the de-escalation is good overall. This is something that not a lot of people are giving much attention to. It's under the new US-China trade deal. President Trump made a huge agreement with China. China will suspend all retaliatory tariffs announced since March 4th, and China will suspend or remove all retaliatory non-tariff countermeasures taken since March 4th. Yeah, the rest is basically covered from the previous posts. And if you really want to read the whole thing, flashbang warning, and there you go. I'm not reading all that, but it's there. Cool, good stuff. I did not mean to close that. Moving on to Canada, still on the subject of China though. Chinese ambassador suggests that Canada and China triple the trade with one another. This is kind of, I guess, a win for the liberals in a sense, but kind of getting some pushback from conservatives here in Canada, right? They're asking stuff like, okay, well, why are we ignoring the US and embracing the Chinese Communist Party for getting trade deals done, right? What's really going on here? Why is that the case, right? The US should be our closest ally because they're literally right next to us, not China, right? But liberals think Orange Man bad, so that's why they're happy. Of course, Mark Carney also, he had his negative comments about China in the past when he was initially elected in spring of this year. And he says now that he was misinformed about China being Canada's greatest threat, and that it is vital to have a relationship with them. So basically, yeah, forget the US, let's get in bed with China. And that seems to be what the liberal strategy is. I mean, it's good overall. I mean, if we are stopping any tariffs, because, I don't know, it seems like China took advantage and rode the bandwagon when it came to the United States announcing tariffs on the whole world. China was like, you know what, we're going to do that too, but, you know, we're just involve Canada in the process because screw them. So now it seems like after they met up, I covered it yesterday, last stream, the meeting with Xi Jinping and Mark Carney. Seems like this is what they got out of it. So, all right, cool. But what is next? Well, after announcing to commit lots of money in Southeast Asia after meeting with Laos and I don't know if it was Cambodia or Malaysia, all these other countries in Southeast Asia, we are now getting numbers for how much the budget deficit will be. The finance department in Canada reports that we will be having an $11.1 billion deficit ahead of the budget. We never knew what that amount was until just now, which is, in my opinion, a little irresponsible, because what do we do with this, with all this money? How will we financially recover as a country? Carney says that he is prepared to fight an election campaign if the budget doesn't pass. Of course, the Conservatives are not going to vote in favor of this, and will the other parties also vote in favor of it? We'll see. Prime Minister declines to say whether he is confident Tuesday's budget will pass. Here's a whole article on it. I don't know if I really want to read all this. It's very long, but it's there if you care. All right. Canada will then announce a Christmas election. That's coming up soon because, like I said, if that vote doesn't pass for that budget deficit that will have to be spent, which obviously it probably will not pass, he's going to call for an election to try to get less conservatives in office and more liberals in office in the parliament, so that they could run the the vote again for this budget and have it pass, because of course liberals approve and conservatives oppose this budget spending bill. And same with NDP, it's one of the third parties that we have here. Well, we have many parties, but the third majority party, which they're not even a majority anymore, they're a minority party because they lost so many seats. But either way, it seems like the NDP will not support the budget either. 70,000 job cuts to public sector. No wonder the conservatives are campaigning. And we are seeing a lot of campaigns, and I've noticed it too. I'm noticing a lot of Pierre Poilievre ads all over the feed again. So it's happening. What else we got? Liberals are preparing for Christmas election. Like I said, they're ramping up their attacks against Pierre Poilievre, trying to make it seem like he's unfit to do the trade talks. Of course, Pierre Poilievre will still be the face of the Conservative Party. He got his seat back in Parliament after somebody in Alberta had to give up his seat and run a by-election there. It's a by-election, right? Something like that. Because he lost his riding in Ottawa, I think, to another Liberal. So he had to go to the most conservative province, which happens to be Alberta, and rerun there so that he could regain his seat. And somebody, I forget his name, but props to him. Very generous of him to give up his seat for Pierre Poilievre to stay in the race, right? So here we go. They're panicking as they don't have enough votes to pass their dumpster fire of a budget. So it's all up to Canadians to not mess it up again, is what it seems like. I'm still keeping my conservative vote, I feel. Yes, I publicly announce it. The Liberal government, in my opinion, has not been doing any good. It all, like I said, Trump strategically managed to sort of influence in the Canadian election when it happened in April of this year. Kind of by one of the main subjects being who is going to be the strongest candidate to stand up against Trump. Of course, liberals hate Trump, and conservatives, well, they tried to make it seem like Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party, would be the Trump of Canada, right? He was using that same kind of rhetoric, Canada first, right? He was also, I don't know, like it's all over the place, right? Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it, but elections are coming by Christmas, so we'll see what happens. Moving on. More talks about the Nigerian crisis that's going on. I heard that the Nigerian president, it was Nigeria or, yeah, it was Nigeria. He declined that there's any massacring going on, which it's clearly false. Come on, we all know. And Trump posted this today on Truth Social saying, if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, which seems to be what the problem is at core, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria and may very well go into that now disgraced country guns a-blazing to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. I am hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet, just like the terrorist thugs attack our cherished Christians. Warning, the Nigerian government better move fast. So he's literally calling them out saying, do something about the problem. The Christians that are being massacred, you got to do something about it. Otherwise, we're going to get involved. I don't know how I feel. Like, of course, there's going to be criticism of like, we don't want the United States getting involved in more wars, right? This is the precedent of no wars, right? No new wars. But it seems like it's going to happen. But it also seems like it is for a good reason, right? We're defending the Christian population in Nigeria there because they were being unfairly massacred by an incompetent government, is from what I understand, right? Of course, there's also criticisms from the left saying, oh yeah, but what about the other people who die there? Why aren't we going to war for them? Or whatever the case is. And it's like, well, this is clearly a targeted attack against human rights. Also, there's other criticisms like, should the United States be policing the world like this? And I mean, Pete Hegseth, the head of the Department of War, he's already on the case. He's like, yep, no problem, we'll have a look at it. So there's that going on as well. No further updates from their end, so we'll wait and see what happens if we indeed go to war with the Nigerian Islamic people who are killing Christians. We'll see. I have new insider trades for you guys. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think she is going to be like taking the throne from Nancy Pelosi soon as the best insider trader. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. She made a bunch of new stock purchases in the last 2 weeks. And if you were aware, last week was a big earnings week for a lot of these stocks. Her timing has been spot on. Here is how her earnings plays performed so far. So she bought Amazon, Mercado Libre, I don't know what CAH is, CVX, I think that's Chevron. Microsoft was the only miss. Of course, we saw all these other companies going up 13, 8%, 17%, 3% after the earnings, right? That's 4 out of 5 winning bets in a single week. What's next? She also purchased more. She purchased Berkshire Hathaway. I don't know what EXC is. I don't know what AMGN. Novo Nordisk, Occidental Petroleum, Palo Alto Networks, and Home Depot. And those earnings are also coming up soon. November 3rd, November 4, November 5, November 10, 18, etc. Interesting picks right before earnings too. So, hey, if these do perform well, which we will keep track of, we'll let you know. Interesting picks. I did hear a lot about Berkshire Hathaway having $300 something billion in cash on hand after selling a bit more stocks. Warren Buffett's already stepping down. So at this point, in my opinion, like, who really cares about what's going on in Berkshire Hathaway? He's never going to buy crypto, so that's completely out of the question. Or maybe, I don't know, the younger guy that's replacing Warren Buffett will be more open to buy crypto and Bitcoin, hopefully. I mean, that would be big, but it's not a lot either way. $300 billion, it will help, and it will give positive sentiment. Like, look, guys, even Warren Buffett's company is buying into crypto, but I find that very unlikely to happen. But if it does, it would be good. But it won't affect the markets too much. Yeah, and I don't know. I just saw that they were reporting that they had all this money, and it's like, okay, we kind of already knew that they had a lot of money. Tell me when they buy something, right? That's what we will be more interested in. So if they do, like I said, I will be keeping you guys informed on that. All right. And this is AI generated analysis, so verify transactions and details manually. Great. Japan's FSA, I'm assuming FSA is Financial Security Advisor. No. Okay. What is FSA in government? Forward sortation area. Great, thanks. No, is that what it actually is? No, Japan. It's giving me stuff in Canada. Who cares about the Canadian government? Am I right? Financial Services Agency. Didn't I just say that? Financial Services Agency? Advisor? Whatever. Yeah. They plan to classify Bitcoin as a financial product in 2026. We already know the Japanese company Metaplanet, which is basically the MicroStrategy in Japan, right? The same equivalent that we have in the United States. They've also been loading up and, very bullish on Bitcoin. And after the meeting between Trump and this new lady prime minister, I love her name. It's Sanae Takaichi of Japan. It's likely that she will also, copy what the United States is doing. And that's the kind of example that the United States is setting. And I find that positive overall, globally speaking. Everybody's going to start seeing the United States. As soon as we get that plan approved on how to purchase more Bitcoins, I'm sure a lot of countries will also follow. We already do have some countries that are getting involved with cryptocurrency. Argentina's looking at it. We already know El Salvador's in it. Pakistan also, and Kyrgyzstan with the help of CZ. CZ is helping a lot in Middle Eastern region, right? United Arab Emirates and all that kind of stuff. Trying to think where else. I don't remember any specific country off the top of my head that is also announcing Bitcoin strategic reserves or anything like that, but it's gonna start adopting more and more. We're already seeing Japan getting interested in it, so that should be good. All right. What's been going on? Whales are selling. We're noticing that addresses that are holding 10 Bitcoins to 10,000 Bitcoins have dumped a total of 23,200 Bitcoins since October 12. The sentiment data shows. Sentiment, really? Interesting. They can dump here, that's fine. I'm sure if they've been holding for a very long time, like I said, these are people with 10 Bitcoins to 10,000 Bitcoins, so these are whales, right? It's fine for them to take some profit, and it's not like all of them are selling. It's only been, well, I'm saying it's only been, but yeah, 23,200 Bitcoins. It's a lot, but it's not too much, right? Too much is something like Michael Saylor holding 600,000 Bitcoins. This is only 23,000. For reference as well, the German government, with their seized Bitcoin, they had 50,000 Bitcoins and they sold it on spot market. It didn't impact Bitcoin's price too much. At that time, we were at 60,000. We dropped to 50,000, that kind of deal. You could argue we're sort of experiencing that same kind of suppression at this time, with 23,000 Bitcoins being dumped since October 12. This is after, of course, the big crash. Many people probably saw this big crash and said, you know what, yep, that is a top signal. All leverage has been flushed out. I don't think retail can financially recover from this. That's probably what the big whales are thinking and could have sold Bitcoin on the spot markets. That's from the way I interpret this. Could be. And I would say they're wrong. You never sell your Bitcoins if you have it on spot. I'm being hypocritical, but I regret my decisions on selling Bitcoin on spot. When did I sell? I think I sold at 70,000 after Trump won, something like that. Or maybe 80,000. I don't remember. It's fine. Who cares? This is the big drama that's been going on here recently. We're seeing massive withdrawals from MEXC, which is another cryptocurrency exchange, centralized. It's a small one, but it's there. It has been sort of rising in popularity because of their listings. They're pretty good with listing a lot of stuff. Investors are actively pulling funds off MEXC, raising serious concerns. Social media is buzzing with rumors that the exchange may be insolvent or soon to collapse. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this Arthur Hayes' exchange? Who's the CEO? Arthur Hayes. Oh, it's BitMEX, so it's a different one. I'm confusing the MEX. So MEXC and BitMEX, different stuff. But okay, MEXC is having the issue over here. We're going to talk about it, about what happened. There is a trader who accused MEXC of freezing roughly $3 to $5 million. MEXC denies the claim. He posted on crypto Twitter. It explodes in popularity. Then they realize, oh shoot, you know, we've got this big thing on our hands now. So MEXC apologizes, but the community ends up still not trusting them. And that is why we're seeing lots of outflows coming out of the centralized exchange. Because it matters, because centralized exchanges run on trust. Once traders fear withdrawals could be at risk, it can trigger a liquidity crunch, even if the exchange is still solvent. I'm sure this is all just PTSD of what happened with FTX in 2022, the big collapse from Sam Bankman-Fried not having the customer funds. He was using it to party in where was he? Bermuda or Bahamas, whatever it was. So yeah. Here's a big explanation thread as to what happened. The trigger. There was a trader known as the White Whale, TWW. He claimed that MEXC froze his account, which held around $3 to $5 million in assets. He claimed that he traded manually, so there was no bots or APIs involved. He never violated any rules, and customer support gave him no clear answer for weeks. Basically, he accused MEXC of locking his funds without valid reason. That is a lot of money, right? $3 to $5 million. Suddenly the centralized exchange just blocks it. It's like, okay, well, let me have my money, please. You're not my bank. This can happen with a bank too, by the way, but that's the issue with centralization. it has benefits and it has consequences, the whole centralization thing and decentralization. But anyway, the response from MEXC. The chief strategy officer, Cecilia, I saw this post out there too, said she got involved and she had private discussions with the guy. So it really got the attention from the top dogs at MEXC. According to the white whale, MEXC asked him to admit to rule breaking in exchange for releasing his funds, which he refused. Wow, trying to bribe him. Cecilia then told him, the CEO, that they would look into it, but allegedly they didn't follow up. Uh-oh, that's not a good look. That's one of the perks of being a centralized exchange, is that you have a customer service to complain to, right? When the big liquidation event happened on BitUnix, for example, I was able to contact the customer support and they were able to help recover some, not all, of the liquidated funds. It's it was something, so it's better than nothing. So I appreciate it a lot from them. I can't stress it enough. But yeah, perks of being centralized exchanges, you got the customer support, which in this case, MEXC, it seems like they were lacking in that area. After he went public on Twitter, Cecilia replied saying that he was mixing facts and that their discussion should have remained private. Then, MEXC's official account said that they would take legal action against him for spreading misinformation. Uh-oh, so on top of you having your $3 to $5 million in assets locked forever, not forever, locked without explanation, you're also getting a fat lawsuit for defamation, misinformation. So at that point, MEXC was denying wrongdoing and going on the defensive. But it came with backlash. The statement backfired massively. Prominent on-chain investigator Zach XBT, oh, we love this guy, don't we? And others in the crypto community sided with the white whale. Zach XBT, if you don't know, he's very famous for, tracking down whenever there's a case of hacking or, transferring funds between a lot of blockchains. He's usually the guy that people go to, like, hey, help me, I got hacked. Where did my funds go? And he'll just track down every address in existence and be like, yep, this is where it's from. This is who the wallets belong to, all these wallet addresses. And, he was the one who figured out that Bybit got hacked by North Korea that one time. So he's very famous for this kind of stuff. And the fact that he's on the side of the affected user, the white whale, it says a lot, right, against MEXC. So that's not a good look for them. Many users came forward as well, saying that they had similar experiences with accounts frozen, withdrawals delayed, etc. The sentiment on crypto Twitter flipped hard, and people began warning each other to withdraw funds from MEXC immediately, which explains the massive withdrawal that I showed in the previous post. That's where the FUD wave started, fear, uncertainty, doubt. But in crypto, it can quickly cause bank run behavior if users fear withdrawal freezes. And I literally just explained that this can happen with your bank. Your bank can just freeze your funds at any time. And we've seen real life scenarios of this happen, even in Canada. So nobody's safe. The turnaround. Seeing the outrage, Cecilia apologized publicly and said that the withdrawal for the white whale was released. So allegedly his funds are back. He's got access to his $3 to $5 million again. MEXC's official account reposted her apology, signaling damage control, but the trust hit was already done. Like I said, centralized exchanges do require a lot of people's trust, right? People continue withdrawing funds just in case, and many users see this as a red flag reminiscent of FTX and other past collapses. I'm literally predicting the future here. I promise I did not read this in the beforehand. I just, had a quick overview of it. I'm like, yeah, this is talking about the case. Okay, so I'll bookmark it to talk about it on the stream. And literally, as I'm explaining this, it's showing exactly what I'm talking about. The FTX PTSD. She posted this, right? Yeah, we screwed up. We apologize to the white whale, and all his money is released. He can claim it at any time. I messed up in communicating with him. Got emotional. Shouldn't have. That's what Cecilia has said. She's the CEO of MEXC. She joined it 2 months ago. She's been fighting behind the scenes to get MEXC to change. We grew really fast. A few years ago, we were a very small exchange, but given our current scale, our risk, our operations, and PR teams have not kept up. Wow, she's throwing the team under the bus as well. That's crazy. I'm sorry to White Whale and to his community. Bottom line. The underlying issue. Some centralized exchanges, including MEXC, reportedly block or limit accounts that profit heavily, especially if traders outperform their internal market makers. Wow. This suggests that instead of fixing internal inefficiencies, they freeze users who win too much. Wow, that is a major reputational risk, especially for professional traders who rely on fair markets. That's crazy. Hey, if you find somebody like outperforming your own internal team, you should hire that guy, right? To trade for you. Probably not. Who knows? You'd never trust people with other people's money, in my opinion. But, I mean, that's what the point of centralized exchanges are. But they're centralized as well. They have a liability. You can get... They knew who you are, right? Somebody has a face to the whole exchange, right? The takeaway, short term, MEXC released the white whales funds and apologize. The midterm, users are still withdrawing and confidence hasn't fully recovered. And long-term issues is that if MEXC doesn't fix their structural issues, you know, account transparency, communication, and fair trading, this could become a major trust crisis. All right, so that's the whole situation with MEXC. And speaking of like other people who were also affected, here's another smaller user that also similar situation. He didn't want to make this public. At first, genuinely believed it was a random bug or a system error, but after 20 days, more than, okay, this is a lot, $3.3 million USDT of my funds remain frozen by MEXC. I thought it was a smaller amount. Okay, it's also 3 million. That's crazy. He reached out to support multiple times. Every time they said it would be resolved soon. Then one day I received an email saying that my account showed suspicious activity and abnormal profit. Come on, you can't really block people for making abnormal profit. That's just luck, right? No explanation, no evidence, just frozen forever. I've been in this space long enough to know that transparency is everything. No one, no trader, no investor, builder should ever have to go through this. I still hope that Cecilia and the MEXC team will do the right thing and fix this. Until then, all I can do is keep speaking up. So like I said, it's multiple people that this has affected, right? If you're too good of a trader, you bet your bottom dollar that the centralized exchange is going to freeze your funds because you're too good. Go work a normal job. Do something else. You're too good at trading. Go touch grass. Before you say reach out to their support, he did several times. They reached out to me. I'll keep updating the case. And, oh, she replied over here. She says that somehow this has been copy pasta for engagement farming. We are busy helping real users to release their funds. If you really have frozen funds, please DM me with your UID, the user ID. So she's saying, oh, you're faking this. Wow, she doesn't even believe it. But hey, if it's legit, this guy's already DMing her apparently. We'll see. Who knows? Will MEXC become the next FTX? It's not... I don't think it's that big because FTX was genuinely a massive exchange at the time. I was looking at ads all the time from being posted about it, and it was just everywhere. And then the fact that it collapsed, it was a huge reputational risk on centralized exchanges, and people didn't want to hold crypto anymore. So that was a big issue in 2022. For MEXC, if it does collapse, I don't think it'll be too much of a big issue. It's going to hurt, but it's not going to be too much, in my opinion. All right. Speaking of sentiment, do we have a cycle top? I don't know. The cycle could be different. People are saying that, you know, for a cycle top, and it's just being based off the last 3 cycles, but this cycle could be a little bit different. First of all, we had a new all-time high before the halving, which it never happened before on Bitcoin, right? Also, the Bitcoin uptrend has been very much sustained unlike past cycles. I've also noticed that with like the super trend that I've been drawing, right? On the weekly chart. Along with that, Bitcoin has been consolidating above 100,000 for almost 6 months, which doesn't happen during a blow-off top. I won't rule out a correction, but a 60 to 70% crash doesn't seem likely now. Yeah, I still think we got it in us to make one more large movement upwards. Yeah, we'll see. Dog with footy. No NYC exchanges falling. Do you mean no KYC exchanges? Yeah. Falling is weird. Too much money for it to matter if it did collapse. That's true. Yeah, I guess the KYC factor also plays a big part. That's why people go on to those exchanges, right? I see what you mean. The bull market is about to end is what Morgan Stanley claims. Andrew Sliman says that we are in the late stages of the cycle and a Fed rate cut can make this bull run end sooner. I don't know why that would be the case. A Fed rate cut would make everything rise harder. And that's what I'm seeing like over here in the comments, is that everybody disagrees with this statement completely and that Morgan Stanley doesn't know anything. They're just a big bank. What do they know about crypto? They're institutional investors. They want you to be fearful, right? So that they can buy and then profit off you buying when you're their exit liquidity when things rise, right? I would also lean on the side that, yeah, we have not hit a cycle top yet. I would agree that it is probably coming soon. My original thoughts was it's going to happen this month, meaning that, yes, I'm expecting this month to perform well because institutional demand for Bitcoin continues to outweigh its supply. That's going to cause a huge supply shock. We know the money exists to make Bitcoin even double in price. We're seeing it in gold. The amount of money that's been transacting in gold. That could easily be transferred over to Bitcoin and that amount of money, right? That's what I'm trying to say. And it can make us rise significantly in price. Hopefully. I don't think all of it will, but at least some of it. Something's got to happen, right? The supply shock is there, and historically speaking, November is the strongest month for Bitcoin. On average, if you're looking at all time, it's averaged a 42% return. A 42% return on Bitcoin at these current prices. Let me zoom out a little more. Oh, this is out of the charts. What did I say? 40, I think I said 42. I did. That would bring Bitcoin at 157,000, which is where everybody is predicting Bitcoin to rise. The man with the highest IQ in the world, Korean guy, I think, predicts that Bitcoin will hit 150,000. He already sold all his assets and is going full on into Bitcoin. We know RFK Jr.'s whole net worth is in Bitcoin. Michael Saylor also predicts 150,000 for Bitcoin. A lot of people do. My personal prediction is 135,000. That's just being super conservative, and we're not that far off of it, right? We were really close to it when we hit the 126,000 high. Only 10,000 away. I still do think that Bitcoin can absolutely hit that. So this really seems possible, guys. It still seems possible. Do not give up hope is what I would say for all this. I know October was a little red, a little bit. We're also a little bit green as well. Don't forget the beginning of October, we were literally hitting all-time highs. What messed it up was this whole tariff thing. The huge liquidation event where everybody lost a lot of money. I also lost a lot of money, so it's gonna suck. Well, it did suck. But what's happening next, I think, will be great. Dog with hoodie of internet equals bull run continue. Step outside. DC people are asking for work everywhere. Crazy. Recession incoming. Okay. I see your point, but I don't know. I feel like, I hope at least, that that will be an issue that we'll have to deal with after we've done our rise, in my opinion. I still think the fundamentals are strong overall. Job market, of course, is probably going to be a huge reason as to why we're going to need the rate cuts, which is probably what Morgan Stanley was talking about. And that could signal the top, but that rate cut is going to happen in December, unless we get an emergency one because things are really bad by this month, right? We'll see. I'm hoping, of course, that government shutdown ends as soon as possible. We could actually start seeing the economical data that we were supposed to be receiving, but whatever. Okay. Hey, we still got support from Scott Bessent over here. He says that 17 years after the white paper, the Bitcoin network is still operational and more resilient than ever. Bitcoin never shuts down. It never shuts down. The Democrats could learn something from that. Wow, what a burn. That's pretty funny. Oh, and Litecoin's just... Yeah. Cool. So we got an endorsement from Scott Bessent. We already know that he's pro Bitcoin, but just, once again, further reinforcing that. And the reason I bring up this tweet again is the shutdown. Shutdown really needs to end, in my opinion. Elon Musk, he went on Joe Rogan yesterday. I talked briefly about it in last stream, but I didn't really watch it yet. I still didn't watch it, but there's still clips surging around. And there's one clip literally talking about the shutdown that I wanted to bring up over here. Elon Musk left Joe Rogan absolutely stunned after explaining the real reason the Democrats refused to open the government, because it is technically their fault. They have to pass the votes. They can blame Republicans all they want, saying that Republicans are in control of the government, of the House, of the Senate. This is their shutdown. When in reality, the answer is no. If you fact check it, you literally ask Grok who is responsible for the shutdown, reply with one word, it'll say Democrats, and it's true. Because they have to pass an amount of votes, and the Democrats are withholding those amount of votes, right? It needs, what was it, 60 votes or something like that? I don't remember the exact number, but it is the Democrats' fault. Musk says that the reason you have this standoff is because of if the hundreds of billions of dollars to create a financial incentive to have this giant magnet to attract illegals from every part of the earth to these states, if that is turned off, the illegals will leave because they're no longer being paid to come to the US and stay here, which is true. That's the core issue, is the health care for illegals, right? Republicans oppose it, Democrats approve it because they want illegals in the country to get the votes, is basically what it's saying. The Democrat Party will lose a lot of voters, of course, if that gets removed, right? The funding of healthcare for illegal immigrants. The Democrat Party cares about unfettered immigration to America more than any other issue because they want to import voters and dilute America's traditional capitalistic European heritage. Bold claim. I mean, I feel like that is true at this point. I had another post about whatever. Elon Musk, whatever. This is some, fun Twitter drama going on between Sam Altman and Elon Musk. We know how much they hate each other, but it's funny. Sam Altman posted this image, A Tale in 3 Acts, where he was trying to purchase a Tesla, is what it seems like. Or I don't know if it's him specifically. Yeah. And then he tried to cancel it after making the purchase. And then it said something along the lines of, you couldn't cancel your purchase. Or your recipient address was rejected, access denied. So he couldn't send an email to, I guess, the Tesla customer service just because he is Sam Altman. It's like his email was blacklisted or something. And then Elon Musk said, well, you stole a nonprofit, having to do with OpenAI, and the fact that it's coming out IPO soon in 2026, I think, is what the rumors are saying. And Elon Musk also said, you also forgot to mention Act 4, which is, I guess, a 4th image that should have been here, where the issue was fixed and you received a refund within 24 hours, but that's in your nature. Of course, that is to lie, right? That was a big issue between these two, is that you're the liar. No, you're the liar. So, burn. I don't think Sam Altman replied to this, so he's losing. My last bit of news is Amazon Web Services appears to be down again, and Amazon is still at all-time highs, so who cares? Am I right? But if we already know, if Amazon Web Services does go down, a lot of exchanges and financial institutions go down with it. Robinhood, I don't know what DAN is. Vanguard, I don't know what FlexTrade is. NASDAQ apparently goes down. Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, PayPal. And people are reporting on Kraken that, yeah, there's issues with it because of the Amazon Web Services outage. And there's a lot of other companies that use Amazon Web Services as well. So, yeah, Kraken is down. All right, cool. We'll see. I think, I don't even know if it's already been resolved by now, but it seems to be a minor outage. It's just a lot of people are reporting it right now. So that's Amazon for you. Okay, cool. So Bitcoin has crossed 110,000. In my opinion, next week's going to be green. Yeah, that's it. That's all my prediction is. I've given you enough fundamental reasons as to why. Yeah, I still think fundamentals are strong. Cycle is still in play. We've got to hit that all-time high soon. The money exists. It's able to happen, right? Sure, money can leave the market, but what's the reason? Why should money be leaving the market? Recession fears I could understand, but I mean, crypto should be the solving nature of all that. I don't know. People would want to hold tangible assets instead of imaginary internet money, which is what a lot of people think this is, but no. There's in my opinion, Bitcoin, I've understood the fundamentals so much by now that it's invaluable to me. I am even going into debt to try to buy as much Bitcoin as I can. I want to accumulate as much as I can. I don't think I will be able to have a whole Bitcoin to my name ever. Or maybe I can. It's going to be really tough though. I don't think I can, no. If we do get a bear market and if everything does crash, I will be buying. Because I have that much faith in it. Only Bitcoin though. If I can get one token, that would be great. So yeah, that's my thoughts on all of it. I'll be ending the stream here. It's getting late for me. Wow, 1 hour plus stream somehow. On a Saturday, isn't that crazy? Thanks guys so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow, Sunday. We'll have new pivot levels, like I said. We'll analyze where prices could go next in more detail, right? Right now, I give you some rough numbers, but things are still changing. Like I said, the super trend was literally at 13,600 when we started. It's dropping still to 113,000 flat, basically. And maybe it could go lower. Who knows? But we're going to have to wait and see for this to stabilize, new pivot levels, all that kind of stuff. And if any news comes out tomorrow. China trade deal looks okay. So why are we crashing, right? Or not crashing, but why aren't we pumping should be the big question. If we can crash because of tariffs being added, we should pump because of tariffs getting removed. Which we have seen happen in the past, but it seems like, I don't know, crypto really doesn't care at this point. I mean, it's a Saturday. We'll let it rest. Let the man rest. Okay, so that's all for tonight, guys. Thanks for watching.